Hey, Life Fixers. Hope you're having an awesome day. I've got a question for you. How many times has fear gotten in your way of doing what you wanted to do? Take a moment. Think about that. How many times has fear gotten in your way of doing what you wanted to do? Now, here's a second question. How many times has you seen fear in your partner, your child, a coworker, a friend, and you saw what was happening by them? And you're like, hey, that's stopping you from doing what you want to do. Maybe you spoke to them, maybe you didn't speak to them, but you noticed it was fear. Now I'm ready for question number 3. How many times have your partner does something to you that came out in anger or frustration and you recognized it was actually coming from a place of fear? That one's probably the hardest one to answer, because usually when your partner is angry at you or did something not even intentionally, but it came out in fear, it either brings up fear in yourself or they're doing it because they are afraid. Oh God. I know that I actually don't really consider myself someone that has a lot of fear, but recently I've been noticing things that come out in anger or things that come out in other situations are really, really fear. But recently I had something where I was talking to a teenager. So this person is probably like 10 years younger than me, if not more. This young teenager who for some reason knows how to not for some reason, it shouldn't come as a surprise, knows how to get what she wants by saying what she wants and has everybody wrapped around her little finger so she could live her beautiful life. And I was out with her. So you get it, you understand. I am taking her out like a mentor type of thing. And officially I so-called have like the upper power, not really in power, but if you want to think of the relationship isn't equal on a line, it's not a horizontal relationship. It's more of like a vertical relationship. And I was scared. I had this little bit of fear of coming up, of like telling her what I want to do and what I think is the right thing to do. Now, obviously my meeting with her is about her and doing what she wants and things like that. But so it wasn't really so much of like, oh my goodness, I want to go to this restaurant instead of that restaurant. Is more like I knew this wasn't good for her. And I wasn't really sure how to be able to tell to her without her getting upset. And I was like, oh, I think I'm just not going to talk to her about this. But then I recognized something else. I recognized that the reason why I had a hard time telling it to her was because when I was in school, I had a really hard time every time I would say something that was like of my own opinions, and then people would like make fun of me for having my own opinions because I always had weird, different opinions that over the years I shut down of saying my opinions. Did that ever happen to you? And then I recognized that is the cognitive function of virtual relationships, being able to see the connection between the fear to something that has happened in the past or to something about me. And that is the cognitive function that we're talking about today. Seeing the virtual relationship, seeing how two things that don't seem really super obvious really are connected. So how did my 3rd grade experience of people making fun of me have to do with my meeting out with this girl? Was the fact that I had a really hard time sharing with her what I think was a smart thing to do. And as soon as I recognized that, obviously I was like, hey, she's not going to make fun of me because she knows that I'm older than me and she has a different perspective. And even if she does, I know I'm way more mature than her and I don't really care. So we're going to do the right thing and we're going to tell her what is the right thing to do. Do you understand that there is something that happened now, something that happened in the past, that it is creating the fear? There's this virtual relationship that is creating the fear. So every sort of fear that you have, anxiety that you have, comes for a reason. Now, I am not here to go and tell you, oh, push away fear, because guess what? Fear is always going to be there. You have to let fear sit right next to you, but not let it control your life. It could be in the car, but cannot be the driver. It cannot choose anything that's happening in your life, including the snacks. Okay. Listen to it, hear it, recognize it. Now, here's the important part. You have to see the virtual relationship between your fear and to the cause, to the root of why that fear is coming up. Listen to it, process it, let the thought go through you, and then you are going to do this. This is your challenge for today. You are going to sit down and journal about that fear. You are going to ask yourself questions like, where else have I had this fear? Do I remember the first time I had this fear? That's a very even a harder one to get to. How does it make me feel when I have this fear? What sort of thoughts, pictures come to my mind when I have this fear? Why am I really fearful? Maybe that will be the question for you. Usually people have one or two questions that they tend to like draw into, and just the changing of one word, and that makes them actually like get to the answer. Now, here's another solution you could do to help you figure out the virtual relationship between the fear and where it is coming from. And that is journal with your non-dominant hand. If you've been listening for a while, you know how much I love the non-dominant hand exercises. It's where you write the question with your dominant hand. That's the hand you usually use to write with. Write the questions with your dominant hand, and you answer without thinking with your non-dominant hand to get straight to your subconscious, because it goes in through the back door. So you would say, why do I have this fear, in your dominant hand? And you answer without thinking and just letting that answer come out. It might take a few tries, but eventually, if you don't give up and you have a growth mindset, you will get to it. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could see the connection of either your fear or your partner's fear, or what happens when your partner does something and all of a sudden fear comes back up? Like he's running late from work. He didn't come home in time. What sort of fear is coming up? Was it because your dad always came home late? Was it because you love him so much and you're scared something's going to happen to him? What is happening that is causing that fear to go up? Seeing that virtual connection. Woohoo! Now you are going to go and journal. You are going to see the connections in your life. You could even try it with your children. Speaking of growth mindset and giving up and not giving up with your non-dominant hand, if you want to figure out how your growth mindset or how your mindset is affecting your productivity, head over to lifefixuniversity.com/mindset, and you are going to find out if your mindset is helping you or stopping you from being productive. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
That's all for this episode of the Life Fix University podcast, but I have a huge favor to ask of you that will not only support the show, but will also help the people you love most. We are striving for 1 million downloads by the end of 2025, and we can't do this without your help. If you love this episode, please share it with 2 of your family and friends so they too can rewire their brains to have an extraordinary marriage. It was awesome spending time with you, and I'll see you on the next episode.